From claiming the GOAT title
Last thing. The greatest of all time, ladies and gentlemen!
to fighting in a way that even the UFC president couldn't resist praising him, Johnny Bones Jones performed like he always does.
This guy is the GOAT anymore. I don't think anybody would deny it. He looks like the greatest heavyweight ever, too.
A 3-year hiatus and quite a few pounds later, one of the most gifted and divisive competitors in UFC history made his legendary comeback.
It's in history. You're the heavyweight champion of the world. Welcome back!
And it was as if he never left. The former light heavyweight champion swiftly submitted the Frenchman, who's also a former interim champion. Gane was also the biggest and most athletic opponent Jones has ever faced. It seemed to be a tougher challenge, with Jones even being the underdog in the betting odds. But somehow, Cyril failed to move the way he usually does. Plus, Bones was in a rush to end the fight. I'd have done a full round-by-round analysis, but sadly, what we have is a minute-by-minute one. Actually, it's the bare minimum number of minutes that make the plural minutes.
Stop it, get the height here. He's putting pressure.
That's right, 2 minutes and 4 seconds in, the fight was done and dusted. I'd love to tell you about it. Total domination, my friends. But sadly, I started watching when the fight was already over. It's a funny story though. I thought it was a great idea to go pee real quick. Well, I wasn't quick enough, and literally by the time I came back, Cyril was just sitting there in pure disbelief. But damn, a 2-minute submission, a guillotine choke, and that's all. Just like many had predicted, that Cyril was dangerous, but his stance was gonna get punished by them kicks. And guess what? It did. And indeed, Gane was more dangerous than Jones though. Nasty nut shot. Anyway, another thing that was predicted by a few pros was Jones winning because of his wrestling. And yeah, even his coach, Henry Cejudo, had his money on the Frenchman. Yes, Gane is amazing when it comes to wrestling too. But you know, wrestling is what makes John Jones the GOAT. And Cejudo is the one who taught him wrestling. Anyway, the 35-year-old American is now a 2-weight UFC champion with 27 victories under his belt and absolutely no losses, solidifying his claim to be considered the best MMA fighter of all time. I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting a much more fun and long fight, and so was the UFC president. White anticipated a competitive bout. It was everything except that. At the UFC 285 post-fight press conference, White said that Jones claimed in a few interviews building up to the event that he was gonna make the fight seem easy.
He just went in there and literally made it look like nothing, like it was the easiest thing in the world for him to do.
Dana added that he thought Jones was just saying it to increase the hype. Guess what, guys? Plus, you know what's incredible? Jones won the title, considering how long it had been since his last contest. Jones is the best fighter of all time in White's opinion, and he seemed happy that Bones decided to get into fighting again.
There's no doubt that John Jones is special. He's the greatest of all time. He's undefeated. He's never lost a fight.
Dana also added that John was an anomaly without question. He stated that Jones was the greatest of all time. Like, come on guys, never taking an L, at least inside the ring. He's competed against the strongest opponents out there. Yet according to White, working with Johnny is similar to working with an artist.
He's fought all the best competition out there, but dealing with him is like dealing with an artist, is the best way to explain it.
And that is literally the easiest way to describe it. The UFC president said that he had no idea what was going to happen next, but that he was grateful for what everyone witnessed at UFC 285. I'm not gonna lie guys, I was also expecting to see some ring rust, but sadly, wait no, not sadly, excitingly, we never even got to see any of it. Nobody knows if there even was any rust. The American just entered the octagon and made it look like he had never left. A complete freak of nature, if I may. The guy is unparalleled. As far as what's next,
Y'all want to see me beat up Stipe? Stipe Miocic. I hope you're training, my guy.
Jones voiced his interest in challenging former champion Stipe Miocic in July, and Miocic also echoed the same feeling, although White is unclear whether the heavyweight fight will take place in the summer.
Something that you guys have kicked around, or do you feel like that could be the plan?
I don't know when, but he's definitely fighting Stipe.
He insists that it will come soon. Let's go to some reactions now, shall we? The Twitterverse was all going crazy with reactions from professional fighters and personalities, and the Aussie, Alexander Volkanovski, summed up the thoughts of many. He noted that Jones did what he does best, and it's hard to disagree with him. Jones's dominant performance left no doubt that he is one of the greatest fighters of all time. Chris Weidman also weighed in, noting the impressive feat of Jones moving up a weight division and still making it look effortless. this. Even the usually outspoken Sean Strickland was left in awe of Jones's performance, though he couldn't resist a bit of humor at Gane's face when he tapped. Okay, yeah, it was funny. Even Rogan laughed. Despite the varied reactions, one thing is clear. Jones's talent and accomplishments are undeniable, and his return to the octagon after a 3-year absence was nothing short of remarkable. As Jamahal Hill noted in his congratulatory tweet, Jones is truly a force to be reckoned with, yet many types of reactions are still coming in. Some people thought it was fantastic, but others were disappointed by how bland the battle was. Jones's performance certainly pleased Alexander Rakic, who described him as a badass. Sterling weighed in as well, praising Jones's 3-year sabbatical, and he's right. Jones's victorious comeback will undoubtedly be recalled for years to come. Yet, not everyone enjoyed the battle. Many described everything as anticlimactic, implying that the build-up to the battle had been more thrilling than the actual combat. But the verdict is in, folks. Jon Jones is officially the greatest of all time, at least according to Renato Moicano. In a tweet following Jones's victory, Moicano praised Jones's incredible career record, including his numerous title defenses and unbeaten record. But it's not just Moicano who's singing Jones's praises. Kenny Florian also pitched in, saying that anyone who thought Gane would be able to hold his own against Jones on the ground was simply insane. And it's hard to disagree. You saw how it ended. Obviously, I did, not live at least. Darn you, Jon Jones. You fought faster than I could pee. Anyway, Jones took it personally when betting odds, and many, like Daniel Cormier, said Cyril was gonna dominate, just like Sugar Sean O'Malley, and as I said, even Triple C had their money on Gane. You know I mentioned DC, so I gotta talk about how he reacted. Minutes after the wrap-up, Cormier uploaded to his YouTube channel and stated that Jon Jones did it in a way no one else could.
All week, Jon Jones spoke about how easy this fight could be.
The king of comebacks, now isn't he? Really, came back from a brutal nut shot. Of course, Jones's career hasn't been without its controversies, both inside and outside the octagon. But regardless of his personal struggles, there's no denying that he's the most talented fighter to ever grace the UFC. And personally, I can't wait until his next fight with Stipe takes place. No popcorn this time. But you know what? It's so tough to predict what will be next, provided how bad the heavyweight roster is. Jon is really gonna make it look like a piece of cake. But to sum it all up, the submission victory was the 3rd fastest ever in a heavyweight title fight. And even though wrestling hasn't been his strong suit, it still became the reason he dominated. I think you can say it's in his bones. Get it? Ring rust had nothing on him. But hey, all props to Gane. He's a great fighter. There's a lot of success that the future holds for him. Anyway, having said that, that was all for Dana White reacting to Jon Jones and calling him the GOAT.